Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time to come and join us this afternoon to talk all things SUSTA, information around how to grow your business and be able to productize and monetize some of those products and goods that you're growing and sell them either domestically here in the US or internationally. And so we're joined today with a representative from the Southern United States Trade Association, which is SUSTA, the acronym you're seeing on your screen, as well as some of our team. But before we dive in, just want to give you a little bit of information about our organization. Many of you are aware of the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and we are so excited to have you all participating on this Zoom today. We have recently delved into looking at ways that we can impact the economic opportunities and profitability, as well as grow the businesses of individuals that are in agriculture and aquaculture. And with that, we have recently formed a relationship with the SUSTA organization in hopes that they can too provide technical assistance and program assistance to you all to help sustain and grow your businesses. And so before we get into the main speaker, I do want to introduce one of our team members, Mr. Rish Anthony, who has recently joined us and is gearing to head up our agri-aquaculture division. Rish, if you can say a few words, I'd appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Yep, my name is Rish Anthony. I am head of all things agriculture when it comes to the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation. I am excited to get to know you all and more about your farming businesses. And yes, I'll be available. I'll leave my contact information if you have any questions or concerns about this and in the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rish. And without further ado, I'm definitely excited to introduce to you guys Miss Danielle Coco. Danielle and I go way back. We were just actually catching up prior to you all logging into the Zoom. But I am so excited that she has joined and is now heading up as Director of Marketing Communications for SUSTA. And we'll be able to share some insights that I hope you will find valuable and also something of substance that can help you to grow your business capacity and productize your offering. So Danielle, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kalisha. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is Danielle Coco. As Kalisha mentioned, I'm the Marketing and Communications Director at SUSTA. Before I get started, I just wanted to say that I'm in New Orleans. So if any of you are also here in New Orleans, we'd love to have you come by our office and meet with you in person. We're a regional trade association, so when we have the opportunity to connect with Louisiana businesses, it's always nice, especially in this world of so many Zoom and team calls. We still really love in-person meetings. So nice to have a Louisiana group today. All right, so this is the region that SUSTA covers. So from our office on Poydras Street, downtown New Orleans, we work very closely with the departments of agriculture throughout the South to help implement our programs. And our mission is to help small agribusinesses, including aquaculture and fisheries, grow internationally. So some of our programs would also help, domestically, but really our core mission is to help get companies, starting from the beginning, the education piece through meeting foreign buyers and then helping promote brands overseas. The programs were created over 50 years ago by the USDA. There's an arm of the USDA called the Foreign Agricultural Service that works on behalf of U.S. agriculture around the world. And so there are funders, but we work regionally. And then we also, help individual companies, really our mission. So all different tiers and levels. So in addition to SUSTA, we're a fairly small office of 12 people here in New Orleans. So when companies come to us with questions, that can be about pretty much any country around the world, we have to have a network of experts that we rely on for help. So just in case, thinking about exporting seems scary, I just think it's comforting to know that USDA has offices around the world, usually within the US Embassy. and they're there really on behalf of U.S. agriculture, getting to know all of the regulatory issues. Maybe in Mexico, products with a high sugar content are going to have to start putting something on the front of their label, things like that. They are the ones who are boots on the ground, like really knowing the details and the nitty gritty of what's required. And they are a wonderful help for us and the companies that we help to support. And in addition to those FAS, Foreign Ag Service offices around the world, SUSTA also has representatives in these core countries. There are in-country consultants. They help us put on events in these various countries and regions. The newest that we have added to our lineup are Africa and South America. So we're really excited to start offering more in those regions and really helping our companies expand. So just to get you a little excited, I thought I would share some of our 2023 numbers. So nearly $200 million in export sales resulted from our events in 2023. So we survey our companies after every trade event and after our using all of our programs throughout the year, and then we crunch these numbers after the year is over. So we, just got our 2023 numbers really solidified earlier in the summer, and our companies reported almost 200 million in sales, pretty amazing. They were making export sales in 68 countries. So we're really all over the map. Over 2,500 jobs were supported through exporting, and the total economic impact on our region was over 400 million. So it's just important to, always keep that top of mind, that exporting is such an economic boon for our companies and the region as a whole. And, the rising tide lifts all ships. We think that the more we can generate through agriculture, the more that we can give back to agriculture. And USDA is really invested in. So I will get started. Before we talk about our programs and services, I'll talk a little bit about the companies that we can support. They have to be headquartered in our region, naturally, because we are federally funded. If a company is located, in the Northeast or the Midwest or California, somewhere else, they have the opportunity to access similar programs to SUSTA's, but they would have to apply through a different association. So we work with companies that are headquartered in our region that are small by Small Business Administration standards. Don't be fooled by that. SBA standards can, sometimes their standards mean you can have up to like 1,000 employees and you're still considered small. So just want to throw that out if, somebody is worried about if they would meet that requirement. It's a pretty big range of companies. But while we're working with small companies, we really want to make sure that the companies we are helping are ready to fight this off. We want to make sure that companies have adequate resources, product supply, sufficient annual sales so that they're really ready to export. The last thing we would want is to bring a company to Japan or Dubai and have them not really be ready for that. It's a time and a financial investment. So we just, we talk with our companies when they're getting into the programs to make sure they're ready. And if a company isn't quite ready for that, we have a lot of stepping stones along the way, starting with education, and then we have events here in the US. So those are all the things that we look at, though, as we are, marking you off for eligibility. Maybe it's just education, or maybe it's, yes, you should be going to all these foreign countries and promoting your products. And then the types of companies we work with, naturally, of course, we're working with a lot of manufacturers, including those that do private label. We also work with growers, farmers cooperatives, which have no size limit because they, it's so many farmers contributing to one group, and export management companies. So these are companies that don't own the brand, they don't have a hand in making the product, but they have some kind of a contract with the owner, and they're responsible for the export. And they can apply to our programs to help promote those brands internationally. Now, in terms of the products that we work with, they have to have a brand. We are not here to help commodities. We're not moving soybeans, sorghum, and things like that. We're helping, specific companies that have a brand. It could be the name of a farm, that could be the brand, but we're not just helping uh, commodities. And then at least 50% of the product has to come from US agriculture. So farmed, fished, or forested here in the US. So think of like maybe a spice blend, maybe some of the ingredients are imported, but if at least half of the ingredients by weight come from the US, then you're good to go. But it's really such a diverse group of products that we work with, from fresh produce to seafood, tons of grocery staples, things that like condiments, sauces, different mixes, a lot of tree nuts, pecans, peanuts. We can also work with lumber and wood species, which is a fairly new thing for us, but we can now support those industries as well as horticulture, um, pet products, which, might seem a little off the wall when you're thinking about this, but, there are a lot of pet foods and other pet products that are made from agriculture naturally. Alcohol is eligible. So, it's a pretty big group of companies that we work with. But I would say the bulk are going to be food and beverage. So the first step when a company is interested is they create a My SUSTA account on our website, and I'll make sure that Kalisha sends that out to everybody, as well as the recording of today's presentation. Just the link to create the account if you're interested. It's free. It just gets you into our database, and it lets us make sure that you're eligible for the program. We're going to talk about all the different programs and services, but one of the things when you create your account, you let us know which you're interested in, and then you're kind of reviewed based on interest. And you update this every year. So, and really anytime if you want to kind of change things around, you can just call us and let us know you want to start moving into a new or different program, and fine. But it's all done online, pretty straightforward and easy. So these are the three buckets of programs that we offer. I mentioned, we kind of start with export education. Then we move into the global events program, which is opportunities for our companies to meet foreign buyers. And then we have our cost share program where companies can apply for 50% reimbursement of certain international promotion. So I'm going to go into detail about all three, but I just wanted to lay it out like this, just so this is how we can determine, like, if maybe you're not quite ready, go international yet, we would guide you into export education first. So this is this screenshot on the right of my screen. If you go to our events page, you'll see all of the export educational events that we have. We had a webinar this morning on tools for becoming a successful exporter. We have another one in early September for horticulture companies that are interested in Europe. Then one on East Africa, which is part of a 5-part webinar series on Africa. And so on. So those are all free webinars. They're great. They're really informative about specific countries and regions, or maybe about just a specific topic. We also have consultations with our in-country consultants. So that list of countries I had that mentioned that SUSTA had those consultant relationships there. So you can register on our website, meet one-on-one with them on a Teams or Zoom call, because naturally, they're all over the world. And it's a great way to connect with them and ask them specific questions about your product. A lot of times companies will, be sitting in on one of our webinars, let's say about Africa, and then they're like, they have so many questions coming off of that webinar, so they can register for a consultation with our consultants, give the presentation during the webinar, and have a full and robust conversation about your specific products and what might work in that. And then we have an export helpline to just kind of round out this offering. It is manned by an expert. I will call her a definite expert in exporting. She will, any question you have, she will go to the ends of the earth to find the answer. She's usually pretty knowledgeable on her own, but if she doesn't, she is tenacious and she will get you the answer. So that is also a wonderful resource. What I wanted to talk to you a little bit more in depth about is our export readiness training. We offer this twice a year because we want it to be available to all companies in our programs. It is done virtually. Our consultant who leads it is based in North Carolina, and she is wonderful. And she teaches like A to Z of exporting, all the fundamentals. Um, and it's done over 3 different classes. So October 9th, 16th, and 23rd is our fall export ready training. It's 8:30 to 12:30 each of these Wednesday mornings. So I know that is, a long time to sit, listen, but it is interactive, done live. Our companies are on, she's on, she has guest speakers coming in. It's really a wonderful opportunity to learn, all the nuts and bolts and the fundamentals of exporting. And there's homework at the end of each of these sessions. So, you'll learn that first module, developing export readiness skills, where you're learning how to classify your products and identify maybe a market that would be good for your products. So she's teaching how to do market research and that kind of thing. So at the end of that course, you'll do your homework, and then the next week come back with that completed, and then learn the next part. And then by the end of it, you walk away with a certificate as well as this full international market plan. So can't say enough good things about this. We started it, maybe 3 years ago. It was like kind of the tail end of COVID. We just identified that there was a bit of a missing piece with our programs, where we were connecting with a lot of companies that wanted to export. They were motivated. They just didn't know some of these fundamentals. So I will also make sure that Kalisha has the link to this. It's on our export education page, but you can see a little bit more and get more familiar. And if you're interested, you can register. So that is most of our education. Then we move into our global events. These are the opportunities to meet with foreign buyers. Our inbound trade missions are, I would say, obviously the easiest because we're bringing foreign buyers here to the US. So if you registered for, let's say, this Canada trade mission to Kentucky and Tennessee, just for the beer and spirits industry, we will be bringing Canadian buyers, let's say like 5 or 6 to those states. Anybody in our region is welcome to register and participate. And it's $25. So you'll get, probably a full day of meetings with each of these buyers, and you might only have to travel to, Kentucky or Tennessee or, wherever each event is in a different location. And so, yeah, logistically a little bit easier than going to Canada, and financially not a hard sell at $25. So these are, really good opportunities to connect with buyers. Our outbound trade missions are similar in that it is these, one-on-one meetings with foreign buyers, but the US company is the one traveling to the foreign market. So I actually went on one of these to Taiwan earlier this summer. We brought 7 companies to Taipei to a big trade show there. So we did get to, walk around this trade show, and there was like a concentration of all the buyers in the industry, the food industry, in this one place. And we had this room that was kind of set aside in the trade show in the convention center, where our consultant in Taiwan had set up meetings with key buyers, 7-Eleven, Costco, all these main stores, from the, convenience stores to the major groceries and retailers. And yeah, each meeting is probably 30 to 45 minutes. And it's just a great opportunity. Once you've identified that a market really is a good fit and you're ready, these outbound trade missions are an excellent way to explore. In addition to the one-on-one meetings, we also take companies on retail tours. So, after this full day of meetings and a full day at the trade show, we also then hopped on a bus and we went to all the grocers and retailers. I got to go into the busiest Costco in the whole world, in Taiwan, by the way. Crazy. It's very busy. But we also went to, you're all familiar with Rouse's. So we went to what would be, their Rouse's, like a local grocer. We went, like I said, to the convenience stores, some of the more high-end groceries. It's just a great opportunity for if you have, let's say, pecans, you could see, okay, do they sell pecans? If so, what size? Is it in the baking aisle or is it in the snack aisle? How do they eat this product? What are the flavor profiles that are that they're more familiar with? What's the pricing? So these are also, I think, pretty affordable. The fee is $600 to participate. You get, all the meetings and the tours are taken care of for that fee. And SUSTA will pay for either your flight or your hotel for the event. And that's included in the $600 fee. So, I mean, this is when I always wish that I had a product and I was a SESTA participant because I would be going on all of our outbound trade missions. Like such a good value for what you get. And we also host pavilions at trade shows around the world. So we will rent out anywhere from 5 to 20 booth spaces. And then you're under the SUSTA banner, kind of like you see in this picture, but each company has their own booth. It's just a way for our small businesses to go to these massive trade. They're huge and not get lost in the crowd. Imagine if you're just, one booth amongst many, hundreds, it would be easy to get overlooked. But when you're in the US pavilion and you're within the SUSTA pavilion there, it's very obvious that you are part of this American group, which people always look to American products for, quality, maybe a little healthier, it's safe, just kind of like top-notch products coming from the US. These trade shows take place, really all over the world. Most of the ones that we do are for food and beverage, but we do a handful that maybe for, the horticulture industry, some that are seafood specific, some that are alcohol specific. So they're all up on our website. The other nice thing about coming with us is that we will provide translators for each booth if English is not the common, or primary business language. And we also provide a shipping allowance to get your products and marketing materials to the show. So again, just trying to make this financially feasible for small businesses. I hear all the time from our companies, we wouldn't be able to do this without, there's no way we'd afford these shows and these events if it weren't for SUSTA. Oh, and I forgot to mention the most important thing about coming with us to a trade show versus going on your own is that we reduce the cost significantly. I think it's about 75% less if you come with us. So, like if you go and you look at a lot of our trade shows, most of them are going to be pretty affordable. There are a couple that are full price just because for internal reasons they have to be, but most are going to be quite affordable. And then through our cost share program, you can get 50% back of a lot of the expenses tied to exhibiting at these international shows. So I mentioned they're all up on our website. Once you have a My SUSTA account, and if you're approved to do our events, you could just, log in, kind of browse around and register online, pay online. Well, pretty self-explanatory when it comes to our global event program. We also have this new capability on our website. It's called Connect 365. This is also a COVID baby. When nobody could travel and we were all kind of, looking for ways to get products and business, out into the world and without leaving home, we created this platform on our website where our companies can create pages on the Connect 365 part of our website and upload their logos and their videos and their product, and a description of their company, and really customize it, a good amount. And then we have invited foreign buyers to the site, so it's not like just any foreign buyers coming on the site and it's going to then spam you. We have asked our consultants in our key markets to vet the buyers, and as they're meeting foreign buyers, to get them onto the site so that they can peruse. It's not an e-commerce thing or anything like that. No sales are happening. It's really just to introduce products to different buyers. And then if, let's say I'm a foreign buyer and I'm on here and I see magic seasonings and hey, this looks interesting, then I can reach out to them and, start a conversation. And then who knows what will happen. So anyway, a great opportunity to get your products out there without even leaving your house. All right. Water before I jump into this one. Next, we have our 50% cost share program. So this is where companies can apply to get 50% reimbursement certain international marketing expenses. So the kinds of things that we can help with are, as I mentioned, exhibiting at international trade shows. So whether you're coming with us to a trade show or maybe you're going on your own, there are tons of these trade shows happening all over the world. We're not at all of them. So whether you're with us or somebody else, you can apply to get 50% back of your booth fee. Travel for 2 employees. That's your flights, your hotels, meals and incidentals per diem. Your giveaway item. So this picture here is one of our pet products companies, and they exhibit at a trade show, I think in the Netherlands, and they're giving out dog collars and frisbees and things with their brands. So all of those expenses, marketing materials, there's a whole list, but the big ones I mentioned, and it really makes it financially feasible for a lot of our companies to be able to go to these shows. Probably our most popular cost share expense would be going to these international shows. Also, the outbound missions. So I mentioned these are the trade missions where the US companies travel internationally. So if you're doing that, they're only $600, and SUSTA's already going to pay for your airfare or your hotel. But for all the other expenses, you can get 50% back. So really making these trade missions even more affordable. Once you get distribution in a foreign country, either you or your distributor is gonna, have to put together some kind of advertising. It would most likely be your distributor. They're the ones that know and, have all the connections, but they're gonna want you to pay for that and to support advertising in that market. And that is something that SUSTA can also help with. So for instance, Florida's Natural, which is a citrus cooperative out of Florida. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Florida's Natural. They had a whole advertising campaign in the Middle East, and they did apply to SUSTA to get 50% back, of this advertising campaign. I'm sure they hired a social media company that's over there, and they were, supporting their brands and really getting the word out in those countries. But it could be digital, it can be billboards, magazine, TV, radio. Could wrap a van. As long as it's in a foreign country, we can help with the 50% reimbursement. We can't do it in the US, but if you're targeting a foreign country, then it could be eligible. So every country is going to have their own requirements for packaging and labeling. So you're going to most likely have to adjust yours slightly. This is an example of one of our companies who sells into Canada. So you can see that everything is bilingual on their label. They came to us and got 50% reimbursement, not just of the actual translation cost and the redesign, but the actual production of their Canadian labeling as well. So every year they can come to us and get 50% back for creating their Canadian bag. So pretty helpful sense there. If you want to support your brands by doing in-store demonstrations or having in-store displays, this is another way to make sure that your products are moving once you get distribution. We can reimburse 50% of, whatever the grocery or the store is going to charge. If you have to hire somebody to do the sampling, we can reimburse half of their hourly wages. So yeah, just another good way to promote your brands. If you need to translate your website, that is a pretty straightforward one as well. This is a Florida pasta sauce company that translated their website into Spanish, and yeah, all their recipes and all pages on their website are so something to keep in mind as you start exploring this. There is a list of U.S. shows that are considered international by the USDA. And that is what this is. So the approved domestic trade shows are US shows that USDA has considered, they've looked at everybody who goes to these shows and has realized that they attract a really international audience. So for these US trade shows, we can provide 50% reimbursement of booth fees, and your marketing materials if you have to hire somebody to help work your booth, basically everything that we can do for the international shows except for travel. We can never reimburse travel within the US. That I'm gonna just drive that home a lot. No US travel. Companies really get excited when they hear that we can help with US trade shows, but it would just be your booth, your marketing materials, you're shipping your products and samples to the show. All of those expenses we can help, just not flying the show or your hotels. So with cost share, I mentioned these are federal funds that we're working with. So there is a pretty in-depth application process. Every year, companies apply and they let us know in what foreign countries they want to get reimbursed and for which eligible expenses. So you're estimating in advance what you're going to spend that year. You pay an application fee. The application, if you submit so right now 2025 is open, the application. So if you submit it now, it's a $250 application fee. If you submit it after January 1st, that goes up to $300. And then the other fee that you would pay for cost share is a 6% fee on the 50% amount. So if you tell us, hey, I'm going to spend $10,000 in Mexico, I'm requesting $5,000 from SUSTA, you would pay a 6% fee on that $5,000. So $300 for us to allocate those funds for you. And then you would create a Mexico marketing plan, and then maybe you'd create one for Japan and another one for, Canada. So you can have several different international marketing plans within your application. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's like a checklist of all the eligible expenses, and you just let us know how much you think you're going to spend and, give us a brief description of what that looks like. And then every 5 years, you have to submit your packaging and labels. That's part of the USDA regulations. We just have to review your packaging and labels and, see the brands, see what you're creating and what you're promoting. And then the minimums and maximums for cost share. Naturally, there have to be maximums, but there's actually a minimum as well. So if you are spending less than $5,000 in eligible expenses in the year, then it's really not worth your time and, the fees that you're going to pay for cost share to make. So what we ask is companies are spending at least $5,000 in eligible expenses, which means you're requesting $2,500 back. And then that's when you would, you should consider applying for the program. If it's your first year and you've never exported, the most that you could request in reimbursement is $25,000, meaning, that you're spending $50,000. If you're an experienced exporter and it's your first year with us, the cap is $50,000 in reimbursement. And then after that, the cap for the 50% amount is 300,000. So we don't have a ton of companies that come in for $300,000 because that would mean, spending $600,000 in international marketing. And, most of our companies are not doing that, but we do have some that are. But just wanted to mention that there are some other parameters there. So thinking more, taking a step back, this whole process with cost share is that you apply first. You estimate the expenses, you pay your fees, you send in your labels, and you're contracted into the program. You sign a contract with SUSTA. Then once that's done, and I mentioned you could be doing that now for 2025. So let's say, you have plans in January, February, you're going to want to apply so that you're, ready and set to go come the start of the year. Then you go out, conduct the international promotion, whatever it is, the advertising campaign, the trade show, and you collect all the required documents. So I have a screenshot of our 2025 cost share manual. What this is, kind of like the Bible of cost share. It will walk you through each expense type and what is required. Because, for advertising, it might be the circulation report of where the magazine, let's say it's magazine, who this magazine is going to, and we're going to need to see the actual ad. If it's a trade show, we need to see a photo of your booth at the show promoting your brands. So, it's each one has slightly different requirements, but they're all going to require an invoice, a proof of payment, and then the proof that you did the thing, proof of activity. So you do that. You submit your expense claims then once you have all that. So after the trade show or after the, website translation is done, then you submit the claims to SUSTA, we process them, and then you get the reimbursement. So, it's not a grant. We don't give the money out in advance. It's, you're getting the money after the fact. And then every year we survey our companies so that we can get all that nice, clean data and tell companies, kind of condense it all and we're helping companies in a holistic way. So the cost share manual, I know cost share probably seems like a lot. It's really helpful. We also do consultations with companies all the time. If you're a new company and you're getting into cost share, you are going to have somebody call you to walk you through the application process, as well as someone who's going to call you and walk you through that expense claim process. We really try to hold everybody's hand throughout, that first year or two that you're with us, just to make sure that everything is covered and taken care of. And this is my contact, Danielle@susta.org, and our phone number. And I didn't put our address because I'm not used to, having an all Louisiana audience. But yes, we are downtown in New Orleans. And as I mentioned, if you reach out and want to come and meet in person in our office, we'd love to do that.
So Danielle, thank you so much. That was a breadth and wealth of information that you shared. And we are looking forward, as you stated earlier, for those that joined after we started, we will be sharing the information, the deck here, the recording, so that you guys can have the opportunity to look at it and take it in, and also visit their website and peruse it. But wanted to give you this overview for a few reasons. One, throughout the presentation, Danielle shared the cost savings and also reimbursements. As with many of our webinars and programs that we like to put on for you all, it is so that you can be aware of programs that are there specifically to help offset costs or reimburse for expenses that you have while growing your business. Marketing is a key strategy that is costly. And it's one of the things within this program that can benefit companies when they want to get their products and goods and services through industry magazines, through industry websites, things that where you can place these ads, and things that may be cost prohibitive for you to do on your own. And so thank you again, Danielle, for sharing this information, for taking your time to introduce it to our leaders that are on the call, chamber members, as well as our producers that are on the call. We definitely look forward to having greater conversations in much more detail and participating in some of the upcoming events. I would encourage you all to definitely go to SUSTA's website. There will be an event, an in-country trade mission that's going to be in Florida coming up pretty soon. I think we're actually going to try to schedule to get out there. But while the international buyers are coming in country, you can actually, participate and see exactly how this can impact your business. And then lastly, as Anthony stated earlier, he is our point of contact with the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Will be overseeing our agriculture and aquaculture division. And so with any additional questions regarding production or access to these types of opportunities, and even connecting back with Danielle and getting down to the office, or setting up another, one-to-one meeting via a Zoom or online platform, please don't hesitate to reach out. We look forward to hearing feedback from you guys. We look forward to working with you to grow and expand your businesses. We also look forward to seeing these products on the shelves domestically. And then, of course, taking it globally as we expand the opportunities to your business, as they are enormous at this point. So the sky is the limit. Rish, I'll let you go ahead and close.
All right. Yes, thank you everyone for joining. If you have any questions for me or want to reach out, my email is rish Anthony Anthony at labizspeaks.org. labizspeaks.org. And yes, please look forward to more webinars. And thank you for coming on. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.